Hello friends, it's Isabel here. Today I have a very rare few days off work to use up some leave, having spent a weekend with my orchestra making music in France, and my kids have gone off to spend the day with their cousins and their nan, and my husband's gone into work and I've got nothing to do. But I also want to just give a little bit of a kind of background update on some stuff I've been going through. So if you're not interested in that, I will try and timestamp where I actually go into the main content of this video, and that is going to be to look at this deck that came in last year and tell you more about it. But just as means of background and everything, to be honest, I've really struggled a lot, probably over the best part of a year, if not longer. The fact that this has been waiting half opened for me to record something and then use says an awful lot. I've really kind of struggled a lot with dysfunction in terms of being able to sit down and commit to looking at my card decks, learning, studying, processing, engaging, whatever you want to call it. And I am at a point to a certain extent where I don't know kind of how I'm moving forward. Having said that, while I was away at the weekend, I did actually have a first quiet moment in ages where I sat down and pulled a few cards. And those cards in the deck I used was so on the money for that particular day that it made me go, hang on, there is still something here that I can do. And really, it's just the time and the space. What I've learnt, which I had suspected for a long time, but I was having some support because my anxiety, my depression had become really bad. And however, I'd also started wondering about whether there was something else going on that was making it, that was sort of, wasn't anxiety and depression, because I didn't seem to be able to respond to the support and the treatment. The bottom line, I'm not going to waffle too much, is that I was diagnosed in 2 phases in the autumn with as being autistic, so level 1 autism, and as also having ADHD. So that makes me AUDHD, AUDHD, as some people call it, and late diagnosed female in this category, which is basically becoming more prevalent as we get to a certain age. There's women who are sort of finding things going backwards, finding they can't cope as they used to, or realizing that there's reasons. And the reason I'm sharing this on here is because I think this has had a massive impact on kind of what all this is for me. There is an element of my dopamine hit being buying new things. There is an element of me becoming completely obsessed with something very quickly, buying lots of stuff, and then after a short period of time, just it falling up to the wayside. So hobbies, interests, and things like that. And a dysfunction whereby I struggle to concentrate, I struggle to engage with stuff, I want to know something straight away, and various other things. So this is probably why I've really been struggling, both with my own learning and progressing, and with perhaps engaging with the community through videos or anything else. There isn't a fix for this, in the sense of I'm still not sure where I'm at and how I'm going to move forward. But I am hoping to try and take a few quiet opportunities to sort of see, am I going to re-engage with these beautiful, beautiful tools that I have purchased and bought for the reasons, or am I not, and am I going to look to move things on? There is also a sense of overwhelm whereby, having bought so many things, now I kind of am completely lost. I'm overwhelmed by the study. I am not a proficient reader of cards. I'm still, I mean, we're always learning, but I very much have not managed to absorb, and I think now I know why, that I'm trying to find ways to understand and to absorb. So I'm not sure where I'm at. I actually probably will go through all my cards and see if I can reduce them, just to look at the overwhelm. But yeah, that's kind of a background, and I'm really interested to try and explore more how this is having an impact on me, particularly in this kind of sphere, in terms of the engaging with the community, or buying and then not using, or struggling with my studying, or not knowing what I'm doing, kind of all this kind of stuff. I definitely have realized that one of the issues is I adore the cards. I love the idea of them. I love the idea of using them to explore, to go deeper, but actually I have a real issue because of the way my brain is wired, with things like, you know, view card, what does that mean for you today? I don't know. And so that's become quite obvious and made it a little bit, I've been really put off as a result. So yeah, so this is kind of where I'm at, and this is why I've not posted for a while. It's why I'm kind of hidden, but also it's why I do keep still engaging with the purchasing of decks, which is a bit of a pain. Anyhow, I hope you don't mind me waffling on for a bit. I think I may come back to this in future videos for sure, but in the meantime, kind of that's where we're at. The reason that this is something I've picked up today to share with you is because I've just received the latest Kickstarter from these creators, which made me realise I hadn't done anything about this. I tend to go in phases as well. When my head, I'm struggling, I'm stressed, when I'm not in a good place, I will buy things because it helps me, and then I will get worse. So I think many of us are like this. It's kind of this, yeah, it's cyclical really. So that's what we're going to do. I really appreciate anyone who stuck with me through this journey, and I'm hoping that I can move forward and even, you know, let's see where we're at. There's a couple of tags I also want to get involved in, and I'm thinking that part of this process will be to do some of those as well. So we're just about 10 minutes in, so let me talk about what I've got here today. If you have looked at some of my other videos and followed my channel, you should probably be aware that I am a big supporter of the creators Phil and Jackie Lovesey, who are UK based. And they create decks that are based in the world of Matlock the Hare. So they have a website for Matlock the Hare, and they were one of the first creators I came across, one of my first Kickstarter forays way back sort of 5 or 6 years ago. And I have basically supported them each year. But what tends to happen is I go, I'm not going to buy that deck. I like that deck. Oh, let's support them because they're British, and I buy the deck. So, but I do have, I think, a full collection, she says. So at some point I will update my collection video, but today we're focusing in on this deck here, and this is the White Hare Wisdom. So, just to make you aware, with this White Hare Wisdom mini deck, I actually won this. So one of my early forays with this couple was that I won this, I think, in one of their newsletter giveaways, and I can't remember, but I was very lucky to be given this through those means and start my journey with their decks. And having bought their playing card deck that they did a Kickstarter for, and I really love this little deck. It is a great size for travel. The only downside is the book is slightly bigger than the deck, but I love the cards are a really lovely feel. I think they've got kind of a linen-y sense to them. And one of the really lovely things about this deck is kind of split into seasons, but it also has a set of cards that relate to the Sabbats, which is really lovely. So I actually sometimes I use these and almost like altar cards alongside the rest of the deck. So I do really like this deck. So last year in the, and just to say, they also make beautiful bags and spread cloths with their decks, except it's in a darn tuck box, which naturally means I can't put it back. Oh, I have done it. So last year, for their Kickstarter, rather than coming out with a brand new deck, they made the decision to update this deck and to do it in a larger version. So they created a new copy of White Hare Wisdom, and at first I was a bit reluctant in my head because I thought, I don't really want to get something I've already got. I've already got this, I already like it. But I think ultimately they have updated some of the cards. They have done it in a larger card deck, which is nicer for at home. This one is a great travel version, but if you want it as like an altar card, or you want it out and you want to really work with the imagery, this is nicer to have the slightly bigger cards. They were also doing an offer of some extra cards that you could only get within this Kickstarter, so I succumbed, and so this arrived, and I didn't open it for ages because obviously I knew what it was. I didn't, you know, I sort of my usual thing, and then I did open it and look at it and intended to create a video, but it hasn't happened until now because I have the next deck ready to share. So let's have a look to start with at what I've got with this and the extra deck, and then what we'll do ultimately is we'll kind of compare and see if there are any major differences between the two copies afterwards. So firstly, the level and the tier I went for came with the deck itself, which is in a 2-pot box. Now these 2-pot boxes tend to have got slightly loose lids, but anyway, they are gorgeous. They are really sturdy 2-pot boxes. They also sent, as usual, they always send their Kickstarters with the most wrapped beautifully. So you can see I'd already opened with a tissue paper with a sticker on it, which I will hopefully be able to cut out and put in a journal. There was a little thank you card, a little a thicker kind of card to keep, a sticker to match Matlock on the front. They often send these wonderful coasters as well, so I have a series of these from them now. I don't know what I'm doing with them, but I really like them, and they're quite thoughtful and quite small little things, you know. A couple of images and prints from the deck in a kind of postcard size. They always have one of their kind of advertisement sort of, this is their website, these are their details. So this is their kind of sales little, we've got the newsletter. They work together, so if you haven't seen any other videos by this couple, they are based in an area of the UK called Shropshire, so that is south of where I am, but I do go down there quite regularly, both for work, and I'll actually in a few weeks be going away there for a few days. Jackie does all the artwork, Phil, husband, does the written work and the stories and the guidebook working together. And now also they've done some work with their daughter. So with some of the more recent decks, what they've done is the artwork is still pencil drawn, but some of the colour has been added digitally rather than it being painted on as it has in the past. So it's a slightly different way of doing. So that might be an interesting difference to see if that's noticeable. The other thing as well is that they've started creating some other items to go with their decks. So they have Jackie does some pottery and creates some of these characters. So for example, here sometimes you can buy like an incense burner that's in this character shape with a hole on the top, or they make things called bickle sprites and things like that. They also produce these bags, so I make sure now, and there was one deck I didn't have a bag for, which I did actually buy the bag separately because I was like, right, I need them all to have bags. So this is the bag that came with this one. So again, it's the same image that's on the box, but expanded out. So you can see that it wraps around the box here. but you can actually see it in full form on the bag, which is really lovely. And the different little characters. This is a Bickle Sprite up here. There'll be, it's Bickle Sprite, I may have said that wrong, apologies, but here. And then on the back, and obviously it also matches the little coaster. So that's really cool. These are nice. They are a sort of cotton material. They're printed on, and they're just useful for protecting the box. And because it's ever so slightly loose, it does mean that it gives it a chance of staying together. In this campaign, I also received the cloth. Now, this isn't too big to fit on the camera. This is a rectangular shape that I've currently got diagonally on the screen. It is, oh, let's see. I'll do it by box measurements. 1, 2, 3 and a bit boxes tall by about 2 boxes wide. So it's very rectangular up and down. But it is beautiful. So again, it's this same image that you've got on the bag here. But these are in a gorgeous velvety feel material. They are so tactile, and I really love them. And I think they're really nice with cards as well, because they tend to not be too slippery. So this is from their moon cards, but they don't slip and slide too much. And the cloth stays where you put it, whereas some altar cloths go all over the shop. So yeah, so there's this beautiful cloth. I've got it on a diagonal, as I say, so that you can see more of it on top of another cloth. So this is what the set came with, and one of the additional things that they offered in this campaign was this. Now this is a little set of familiars that Jackie created, and she calls it a Crumlish mini deck of magical familiars. And basically it comes with its own little bag, again repeating the same image here, which is fine and very, very sweet. But you've basically got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 familiars. And they are very simple, but they can be used almost as like, perhaps they could be used as a focal point for a reading. They could be used to offer you support. I haven't yet fully worked out how they can be used, but we will get there. So let's have a look at these first. So basically you've got these rounded corner cards. Backs are as thus again, and each card has on it the familiar's beautiful, gorgeous picture, along with their name and a single word that conveys their kind of main, it's like a keyword, but it conveys what they're mainly good for. And the idea is that this is something you could use to bring something to you and to your life, someone or something that can support you. So for example, the description of Morag here is the wisest of all owls. Morag knows and carries the secrets of Zach's delicious magic, always sensing and knowing just what to bring to make your life more magical. So, you know, obviously you might pull this and have them as a familiar for the week, guiding you and helping make your life more magical, for example. So you've got Morag, you've got Flittig. So Flittig is diligence. Flittig is what the other thing as well, sorry, if you're not familiar with Phil and Jackie's world, Matlock the Hare, the world has also got their own language and terms. So Flittig is a Pepheroide, which means very small witch familiar. And so she's very diligent but full of energy. So you can see she's got the lots of work, busy, but full of energy to keep going. So maybe that you'd pull that and it would help you, you know, hone in. I could use that to kind of give myself some more function in the week. We've got some lunar moths that bring harmony and balance. Visku Wisdom. So here we've got a Visku who is a white antlered Arctic fox. So familiar is revered as bringing wisdom. Stika, strength. So she's the largest familiar. He has strength both physically and emotionally. So he's a great companion when you need it. I might get him out today, actually. You've got Lika for luck. So it's a small green woodland dwelling. Is Lika. Skiddle, joy. So these are these plush shrooms that I was showing you before that I couldn't remember the name of. There's many varieties of shroom in the Magical Dales. These ones are about bringing joy, and you can see the smile in the face and the bouncing feet. Farley, my favourite, he's a serpent sort of dragon familiar, and he is protective. He's kind of keeps an eye on everything. Elska is what's known as an Arctic Schnuppel, who is loving and caring, so a bit of care and attention, the gorgeous flower. Idla is the Raven Soothwing, so obviously bringing intuition. And so again, another way you could use the cards is actually pick what you want. So rather than picking one and then at random, you know, I could say, right, I'm going to do a reading and I wish intuition to be the focus and bring that out to focus on. These will come out and sit. I have their moon cards in a box on my desk, so they will sit with those, I think. Kara is different. Let's check what they say. Is a decorated profile. And basically is creative, lots of creative ideas through these amazing antlers. And Flump is a schlump, and he's a peaceful. Excuse me for yawning. I had such a busy weekend away with orchestra and I've not caught up yet. Many apologies. He's peaceful and calm, so obviously if you just want a bit of calm in your world, you might bring that out. So these are all the gorgeous familiars. I think it's a really lovely little addition and something different to what I've got. I have a couple of archetype decks, but nothing like this, so I think that's a really lovely little deck. As I say, I think I'll keep it sort of handy so that I can bring them out when I need them, or feel like I need some particular support. So that's the little familiars deck that was part of an add-on to this campaign. And if I remember rightly, it wasn't being sold separately, and I think this is what made me go for the campaign in the end, to get the deck, even though I had the small version, because I really wanted to have these as well. So then we have the main deck itself. So my plan with the main deck is to compare it to the other deck. So let's get the old deck out. So again, this same back is transferring through. There is a card of authenticity there to say thank you for backing. Whoops, sorry. There's a card of authenticity there to say thank you for backing. The book is chunkier for sure. So the book is the same size, physically the same size, but it is much chunkier. I think, yeah, in this book you've got quite small writing and a picture of the card. In this book the writing is bigger, so I'm not sure if that means... I also think there's more cards, if I remember rightly. So... let me see, I think I put these in order as well, ready to... So if I'm right, yeah, so this deck had 44 cards and the new deck has 47 cards. And I think that all the... You've still got a contents, but in the newer book it's spread across 2 pages. So it actually goes right up to page 164 in this book, whereas the old book we only went to 106. Oh no, 198, I apologise. So I think that there's just a little bit more space and there's more illustrations. The only thing that I've really noticed is that the pages have stuck together, unfortunately. So in production, the pages have got ever so slightly stuck. So I don't know if it's just that early page. It looks like it might be. So I just have to be careful. So it is revised. Some of it I think is going to be the same. In fact, the introduction is much longer. So in the original, the introduction was basically a page before it went into your deck. We're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and a bit pages for the introduction now, which is interesting. You've then got the same, your deck, language. So as I say, some of the words that we've come across already. I think it's the same number of words. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh no, there's more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's a couple of extra words in Parlour Witch. And then using your deck method, some questions. Those questions look like they are the same. You can see that this book has more suffered because I've used it, but that means it's good. And then, yeah, a little bit of advice on how they use the deck, but you know, what you use it as you want. It does say, you know, the routes to accessing it are limitless, so you may be drawn to your own way of using the cards, and this is they've basically gone, this is what I do, but you don't have to do that. And then the cards, and the other thing as well is that the images here are all colour as well. Let's just have a quick look at the first card to see what we've got. So you've got a much bigger image, but you've got the same description and words. And then, yeah, I think that they've rewritten some of the description here. So one day I hope to gladly do the same for generations yet to come. It is simply the way of things. Yeah, so they've expanded on the write-up as well, and on the insights. So that's interesting. And put in like a sort of affirmation or something. So that's the difference with the book. So they have expanded the book, and there are a couple more cards. Every card has a good couple of pages. They're grouped into their earth, different types of cards, but everyone has a good couple of pages. So let's have a look and see what we've got. So as I say, I've tried to keep them in order. The way the cards are set up in this deck is that they have a different border. So you can see that you've got like air, you've got fire, you've got earth. Can't remember what that one is because I'm stupid. No. So air, fire, water, of course, water. Then you've got earth cards, spirit cards, and then what they call the witch cards. And then at the back, you've got the festival cards. So they're the same, but there are obviously going to be differences here. So let's have a look. We'll bring the camera in ever so slightly to do the comparison. Sorry, it is wobbly. That's something I've still not fixed. I say it every video. Okay, so cardstock wise, yeah, so these are a very slightly linen-y sort of cardstock, quite thin. These are slightly sturdier. These are a kind of more of a matte, and they do have a slight shine to them. These I love. That's another thing I love. The deck, the quality of the cards they choose. I love this type of card. So you've got the same image here. Obviously you can see one slightly bigger. Perhaps the color saturation is a little bit different. So you can see here, this has slightly more green and these are slightly paler. And some of the colors are slightly paler in the bigger version. What they've also done is made the English version a bigger, and then the Parlour Witch word that they wanted. So that's more prominent, I think, in this card. But obviously that's the same image. So breathe or coo, yeah. So they've taken the English word as the first word, so the key word first. So again, ever so slightly less bright in the colours, but ultimately the same image here. Now this is interesting because this is the first. Okay, so I have got lid gazing, stargazing. I thought I had them in order, never mind. This may happen a few times because I think they've changed up the order in some cases. Now actually what's nice in this one is I think because it is a slightly lighter touch, you get slightly more of the colour of the picture here than here, but ultimately the same. The backs are also different. Should I just note that they are different on the backs as well. So here you have cleansing. I love this card. You know, it's such simple cards, but also so much to think about. And again, you can use these in so many different ways, like the familiar cards. Now, then, just get my way through. So here's a different, okay, so here's a difference in cards. So in your original card, you had these flowers up to the moon, the new moon up here with a hint of crescent, so you can tell the moon is there. In this, we've got the same flowers, but it's almost like we've zoomed out. So rather than just focusing on one tiny patch of flowers, we're now seeing the hare in amongst the flowers. So this one is a different card, and different image. And then curiosity, which again remains the same, but much like this is another one where by having the slightly lighter hue, I'm seeing bits in the image that I didn't see before. So you see here on this key, I don't know if you can pick it up on the camera, there is a tiny little star mark, and they're sort of filtering through, and you can barely see them in here. They are still there, but they are more prominent in the bigger cards. And I think that's actually a colour thing, not a size thing. It's the saturation. Okay, so there was I thinking I had them in order, and apparently I haven't. 2 seconds. Let's find this one. Courage. Okay, so again, the bigger card allows you to see the image more clearly. Ultimately, the image is the same. This is slightly duller, you know, less bright, but it means that you can see this more clearly on here. Dance. Let's have a look. Where have we got dance? Oh, yeah, I just got them all backwards. That's all it is. We will cope as we go along. So basically the same card again. Again, the lightness and colours allows you to see a bit more of the detail on the rock here. Just apologises that if the cards aren't quite in the right place on the screen. I'm paying so much attention to what's in my hands, I'm not really looking at the camera. So apologies if I just missed something slightly. So here we have hearth, again the same image, again that idea, it feels like it's come closer in. It's just that it's bigger, but it feels more prominent. But ultimately it is the same. Judging the moment. Passion. And that's a thicker card. That feels, some of the cards feel quite thick. And protection or smoring. And again, you just get a little bit more detail on the bigger cards, but a slightly duller colouring, not quite as vibrant in some ways. Okay, so now we're on to the water ones. So as we've already seen, I suspect what it is as well. Aha, now. That's interesting. We seem to have some different cards in this batch. So let me just see. Okay, so we seem to have a different keyword in this card. That's what it is. So these cards are the same. So this is another change. So these cards are the same image. They are the same parlour witch term, so a Spregler day, but actually we've gone from ebb and flow to acceptance. So I'd have to look at the book to see what the difference is and whether this is a better representation of what the image is. I mean, I think it possibly is. Ebb and flow doesn't feel right with that card, with the image perhaps, but we will have a look. So that's just a change of keywords. Again, the same here. The card, the picture, the image is the same. The parlour witch term is the same, Esther Garvin, but now instead of play, we've got creativity. Now, interestingly, I think it would depend on what the description is. I would say both of those words are equally valid. The playfulness, nature, doing things for fun, but also having the creativity is important, and so I think either works in this situation. But it's interesting that they've made the decision to change. Then you get flow, flied, same again. We've got intuition, which is Bar Shahaga, Can't say it, but never mind. And interestingly, you see here, I don't know if you can see, is the raven that is in the familiars card for intuition. Magical properties, Skralen. So again, very similar. The image hasn't changed. The keyword's the same. And then you get release, Schliff, which is quite sweet as well. So now we are on to the earth cards, and I'm pretty certain that we're going to have yet again the same problem. So let me just see if I can find any. Okay, so Pefari, which is add colour. So yeah, absolutely. Charm, Hesky. Now the other thing that they started doing as well is this is a new card, and the reason I know this is a new card is because in the last year or so they've started producing these Hesky charms, so you can buy a kit and make it up into these gorgeous charm dolls, which you can leave in different parts of the kitchen, the house, and they're doing different ones with different seasons and with different campaigns. So this will be one of the new cards, because at the time of the original printing they didn't have these Hesky dolls. I didn't get one because I had a feeling that it would just sit there waiting to be done, and never getting done. So I felt like it wasn't worth wasting that creativity and material. Okay, so the next one here is hidden, which is Faja. So there we go. So yep, that's very much the same. Ingredients, Raffini. Now again, I think we've got another new card here, the ingredients for the pot, which is cool. Nurture. So this is now the same card, the same image. We've got staying grounded. And then interestingly, actually there's two other cards in the original deck that are not in this deck now. So we have Laughter and Be Still in the original deck, which may come elsewhere, but that's what we have at the moment. So those two cards currently don't have an equivalent in the new deck. Here we go again. See what we've got. So we've got the full moon here. So again, we've got the same image. Again, that sense that you can see things a little bit more clearly in the bigger card. I'm going to find some love for the next one. Magic. Oh, I got confused then. I thought I had two. Meditate. Up Savannah. Which is very cute. Okay, so this one is a retreat. Cool. We've got receive. And then another new card here, which is mending, Lagnerin. This is within the Spirit collection. Now we have the sort of familiars. So interestingly, we don't have this one in the original deck, familiar. And I suppose partly that comes by having that familiars deck. Keep your path clear. The same sorts of nourish. They use this word quite a bit, Zorkli, which is rise above. Again, a little bit more detail visible in the larger card because the colours are lighter, not because it's larger. We've got ritual. Now this is a different picture, look. So now we've got a cauldron, a candle in a holder, a cauldron, and a tree sprite, Bickle sprite, but not Matlock or the witch that's in the cards. Self-belief, very similar, in fact the same. And then we have another new card. This is Truth, Lugger. Finishing off with the Wand card. And then we come to the festivals. So you'd like to think there might be a similar number. So here we have Samhain, transformation. So again, the vibrancy of the colours in some ways on this one is slightly better. Yule, Return of the Light. This is a different image altogether. That's interesting decision. I think I quite like the new one on that one. Imbolc, same image. Ostara, again, same image but slightly better definition because of the colours. Beltane, again, a new image altogether. And actually I do like this new image, the idea of all of them gathered around the fire, not just a fire on its own, but they're creating something from it. Again, Litha has changed, so in this instance it's taking a kind of sunflower and things in a pot. Again, now interesting with Lammas, we've even got a change of keyword. So originally it was harvest and in the trees, and now it's gratitude. And again, a change of keyword, Mabon being rest and Mabon being balance here, but the same image. So there's a couple of subtle changes. A couple of cards are a different image altogether. A couple have different keywords. And there are a couple of cards switched around, not in or out. But I do think that therefore it is slightly different, and both could be used. As I said before, this makes for a very good travel size deck, whereas this is a bit bigger and more cumbersome. So you could get slightly different senses and readings dependent on where you are. But I'm really glad I did go for it in the end. Even though I had this one, I think that there's some really good changes that have been made, and it allowed me to get the Little Familiars deck as well. So I hope that you might consider whether you can get this. I'm sure that they still have some on their Etsy site. As I say, they are UK based, so you need to be aware of that. But do have a look, and I will post their website and Etsy shop in the description below if I remember. And in the meantime, I hope you're enjoying the weather we are in the UK with the nice warm and sun in late May here. And I will be back on very soon.